Hi, I'm Pandora's Books, and I am a huge Percy Jackson fan. I ended up reading the books when I was maybe 12, 13 years old, and I read the whole original series in probably a week and just binged them all. Absolutely fell in love with the series. And I haven't really touched the books since. With the new season of the Percy Jackson TV show currently airing, why don't I reread the first book and see if it was nostalgia or if it still lives up to what I remember of the book. This book I think I remember the most of compared to the others. I've reread it a few times. There's the movie, even though it's not faithful to the book.
You are still a traitor!
And then there's the TV show. So I've seen the most iterations of this book, so I don't think I'm going to be misremembering a lot of things. And I'd forgotten about this. I'm realizing that I forgot a lot. I didn't remember. I had forgotten about the main thing that I had forgotten actually. But I'm still very excited to see what I think of this as a 24, nearly 25-year-old.
How do you do, fellow kids?
So let's just jump straight into it. So I'm at the 25% mark, and I've got a few thoughts that I want to share. That I wrote them all down in this notebook.
Dear diary.
The first chapter really flies by and a lot happens in it, which I really appreciate. It just throws you into the deep end and just things start happening. It's really difficult because with the TV show happening at the moment, I end up just comparing everything that I'm reading to the TV show, and I'm also seeing the actors as Percy and Grover. It's one of my grievances with the TV show, but you can really tell in the book, and I'd forgotten about this, but how much grit there is to Percy. He genuinely is so sarcastic for a 12-year-old, and I love it, which is something that I feel like is lacking in the TV show. And like, he gets into fights, and he is that delinquent. He's not a easy child. That was the whole point about demigods being dyslexic and having ADHD. He can't sit still. He causes chaos in classrooms, and it's refreshing seeing that as a main character having so much grit to him. The first chapter also is just like a whole chapter of gaslighting essentially at the end, which is hilarious. Just convincing Percy that he is wrong. He never saw Mrs. Dodds. Mrs. Dodds didn't exist. You can also tell it was written in 2005 because there's a line that's like, oh, my lunch must have been contaminated by magic mushrooms or something, because no one else remembers Mrs. Dodds and he feels crazy. You wouldn't find that in a book from today. The Minotaur scene, love it. I have to keep reminding myself that the Minotaur isn't 30 feet tall. I don't know why I have this vision of him being like this huge giant, but he's described as like 7 foot, which doesn't compute in my brain. Like, I know it makes sense because otherwise how would have Percy jumped onto his back? In my head, he's like 5 times the height of Percy. Like, there's no way that he is 7 foot tall. I also I'm realizing that I forgot a lot of the rules. Like, I knew that technology couldn't be used by demigods because phones and technology attracts monsters. But the one rule that I did forget was that names have power. It's very Harry Potter of Rick Riordan. But the fact that they don't call the Minotaur because it attracts monsters. They don't call the Furies, they call them the kindly ones. I'd forgotten that aspect of the book, and it's interesting relearning the lore in some ways. We also get introduced to Luke not long afterwards, and Luke is 19. For some reason in my mind, I thought he was 16. That is such a huge gap. That means by the end of the series, Luke is like 24. And Percy's 16, so he's fighting a 24-year-old. It just seems so odd to me that Rick decided to make Luke 19 and not like 16. Because then if you really think about it, this 19-year-old is having beef by the end of this book with a 12-year-old.
I'm a mature student, I'm 45.
I'm at the 25% mark. Percy's just blown up the toilets. Let's get back to reading. reached the 50% mark yet, so I'm not going to give a full detailed update. However, we're 120 pages through, and Percy has now only just gotten claimed. Like, we're a third of the way through the book. We're still at camp. He's just gotten claimed. We've just finished the capture the flag game. Like, he hasn't even got his quest. He hasn't got his prophecy yet. It's just crazy to me that it's taken this long. Like, it doesn't feel like it's long, but when you look at the page number, it's crazy to me that we've then got to get him having the prophecy, going on the quest, coming back from the quest, all in roughly 200 pages. Capture the flag went how I remembered it going. The only thing I had forgotten about was the Hellhound attack. I feel like, did they even have that in the TV show? I can't fully remember. It's nice when I come across something that I'd forgotten in the book. Anyway, back to reading, and I'll update you at the 50% mark. So I'm now 50% of the way through the book. I've read the bit where they go to the thrill ride of love for Ares to get his shield. So I've read a decent amount of the quest now. I am really enjoying it, and I was worried that the quest would feel a little bit too snapshotty, as in they're in one place and then we see them in another place and then we see them in another place and there's no like in-between bit. But there has been a little bit of downtime, and that's when we really get the backstory of each character. When we find out about Annabeth and her dad and the family situation at home. That's when we find out about Grover and his wish to be a searcher. What I had forgotten was how much Annabeth and Percy really dislike each other. Like, they get on each other's nerves so much. Like, they're bickering a lot. When there is a time to throw a jab, they throw a jab at each other. And I really enjoy that, because I think as a fandom, we obviously have read the whole story and we know where they end up, but I had really forgotten how they started at the beginning, and I'm enjoying that dynamic. Also, Grover is so much more of a environmentalist than I remember. It's just so interesting being introduced to these characters again. I also forgot how Ares influences Percy's emotions and makes him angry just by being in his presence.
Oh, and I am about to raise you right off the pavement and onto...
It's just little things like that that I'm really enjoying while reading this. I will say though that at no point do I feel like it's rushed. It is done so well that even though there's 100 and something pages left, I'm not worried and I'm not thinking that it's going to be rushed at the end of this quest. Let's get to it and see how far I can get. So I'm officially 75% of the way through. I've just finished the chapter with the waterbeds with Krusty. I'm enjoying it, but I'm excited to finally get to the underworld. I know that's next. The Lotus Casino scene was really interesting because, I mean, it's an iconic scene in the film, and I love that scene in the film. Seeing it in the book, obviously this book was written in 2005, I think it was, and there's mention of VR, these really high-tech games in the casino. I'm trying to remember if VR, when that became a thing. It's fun seeing Percy discover more of his powers, so him discovering that he can talk to only horses. So like with the zebra in the truck, and then also when he discovers this when he falls from the arch, whatever it was called, but him going into the water and discovering that he can breathe underwater and he stays dry underwater. I'd forgotten about the lady under the ocean that talks to him and gives him the pearls. I'd kind of thought that the pearls weren't part of the book because the pearls were part of the movie and the movie changed a lot of things. But no, he just gets given the pearls. So I'd convinced myself that that was something the movie had made up for the plot. We have less than 100 pages left. So they've got to get through the underworld. He's got to fight Ares and get back. And I trust that it will all happen without it being rushed. I'm curious on pacing of it. Let's get back to reading, and the next time I see you, I would have finished Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. So I have finally finished Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And I really enjoyed it. It was so fun, so quick. I think the main thing that I had forgotten actually was that the Helm of Darkness had also been stolen, which I know was in the TV show, and I don't know why I forgot that. It just slipped my mind. The fight with Ares was really fun to read. The suspense during that fight was really enjoyable. And then the ending between Luke and Percy. I remember when I was younger reading that was such like a shock to me. Because I knew Luke betrayed Percy because of the film, but how it happened with the Scorpion was just crazy to me. And I forgot about Backbiter being both a sword that can harm mortals and the immortal. We could be immortals! Which, if you really think about it, why did he need that? Because he can still harm demigods with celestial bronze. It might be nostalgia, but I still would give it 5 stars.
That was like 30 seconds ago, nostalgia.
And I'm excited to read the next books because that's when I truly have forgotten huge chunks of it. Maybe not for Sea of Monsters, obviously, because season 2 of the show's out at the moment, so it's reminded me of a lot of things.
He's getting married.
But I'm excited to continue reading the series. Speaking of continuing the series, today I got a very exciting package in the mail. After reading this book, I was like, I really want the Heroes of Olympus series on my shelves as well. And so I managed to find the nice covers, the covers that are similar to these. So I'll quickly go get them so I can show them off to you. Look at these! Oh my god. They're so beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
The actual books themselves are basically look brand new and they look beautiful. The only one that's got a bit of damage is the last one, and I think that's because the box was damaged. And then it also came with a little poster. Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will be making another video on all the other books, so part 2 will be on Sea of Monsters. Comment down below what your favourite Percy Jackson book is. From memory, my favourite was Titan's Curse. That was the first book that ever made me cry. That's all. Thank you very much, and I shall see you next time. Bye! Oh, nice! We're watching the Percy Jackson film in celebration of me finishing the book. It's a crazy choice. Ooh. Gods. Ooh.
Oh my god.